I thought I knew everything about my husband, but then a DNA test changed everything, and what I uncovered will leave you speechless. I found it. The DNA test. My husband, Ethan, he's been hiding the truth from me. Who is Lily Price, and why is she connected to a child? Maya had always believed her life was perfect. She had the career, the house, the husband, Ethan, who seemed to be everything she had ever wanted. They were the couple everyone envied. Theirs was a love that felt unbreakable, or so she thought. Lately, though, something had been off. Ethan, the man who used to be so attentive, started pulling away. At first, it was small, late nights at work, quiet dinners, the lack of conversation, but then the phone calls came more frequently, and every time Maya asked about them, Ethan would brush her off, changing the subject or claiming work was piling up. Her suspicions started to grow. Was he hiding something from her? Maya had always trusted Ethan completely, but now doubts began to creep in. One night, after a long day at work, Maya came home earlier than expected. The house was quiet. Ethan's car was parked in the driveway, but he wasn't on the couch like usual. As she walked through the front door, she found him in the living room, sitting by the fireplace, his phone in his hands. He immediately hid the phone, as if he had something to hide. Maya froze for a moment, but didn't let him see her shock. She had seen him do this before, but it always seemed like an innocent mistake. "Hey," she said, trying to sound casual. "How was your day?" "It was fine," Ethan replied, his voice stiff. Maya's heart sank as she watched him avoid her gaze. The next morning, Maya's mind was racing. The DNA test still sat heavy in her thoughts. Who was Lily Price? Why had Ethan kept this secret from her? Her mind couldn't make sense of it, and she needed answers. Ethan had been unusually quiet since last night's confrontation. He hadn't apologized, hadn't tried to explain himself. Instead, he acted like nothing had happened, like everything was just fine. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. She decided to investigate. Her mind was set. She wasn't going to let this lie go on any longer. With Ethan out for work, Maya sat down at his desk, the same desk where she had found the DNA test. She pulled out his drawer again, carefully searching for anything that might explain the situation. Her fingers grazed over papers, old receipts, and personal notes. She wasn't sure what she was looking for, but something inside her told her that there had to be more. Her heart skipped a beat when she found it, a series of old text messages between Ethan and a contact saved under the name Lily. The messages were innocently worded at first, but as Maya scrolled down, the tone of their exchanges became more personal, more intimate. The way Ethan had written to her, the way he'd spoken, this wasn't just a friend, it was something more. "I miss you," one of the messages read. Maya felt a pang of jealousy and hurt. Why hadn't he told her about this? Why had he kept it hidden? But it wasn't just the messages that made her stomach churn. It was the timing. These texts had been sent after they had gotten married, long after he had promised her that their pasts. The following days felt like a slow-motion nightmare. Maya couldn't escape the images of the text messages, the lies, the betrayal. Ethan, though he tried his best to act like everything was normal, was only making things worse with his silence. The walls between them were growing thicker, and Maya could feel it in every glance, every conversation. She couldn't stay like this. She needed more answers. Maya couldn't let Ethan continue hiding behind vague explanations. The truth had to come out, and she was willing to dig deeper if that's what it took. That afternoon, when Ethan came home from work, Maya decided she couldn't wait any longer. The secrets he had kept, the lies he had told, they needed to be uncovered. There was no more hiding. She found him sitting in the living room, the TV on but his attention elsewhere, as usual. It wasn't the first time Maya had noticed his growing indifference. He'd become a stranger to her, and it was time to break that wall down. "Ethan," she said, her voice quiet but steady, We need to talk. Again. He looked up at her with a forced smile, but his eyes betrayed him. They were tired, hollow. He already knew this wasn't going to be a typical conversation. What now? Ethan sighed, clearly avoiding the confrontation. I need more than just your apologies, Maya said, standing in front of him. I want the truth. What's really going on with you and Lily? Ethan swallowed hard. He didn't meet her gaze, and for a moment, Maya almost believed he wasn't going to answer, but then he spoke in a quiet, defeated tone. She's someone from my past, he started, his words coming out in fragments. We were close before I met you. I I didn't know how to tell you about her. Maya's heart raced. Before I met you? How could he have been hiding this from her all these years? Why didn't you tell me? Maya asked. The silence between Maya and Ethan hung heavy in the air. After their conversation, she retreated to her room, unsure of what to think. Her emotions were a tangled mess: anger, betrayal, confusion, and a strange sense of emptiness. The life they had built together felt like a mirage now, and the more she thought about it, the more she realized just how much Ethan had kept from her. She couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. The secrets, the lies, it was too much. But still, Maya's heart ached. She didn't want to let go of everything she had known. She didn't want to walk away from the man she had once loved so deeply. But could she trust him again? Could she ever look at him the same way after all of this? Later that evening, Maya found herself sitting in the living room, the space between them as cold as the walls around them. Ethan came in, looking like a man who had lost everything. He stood there for a moment, unsure of what to say, before sitting down beside her. Maya, he began, his voice hoarse. I never wanted to hurt you. I was wrong. I should have told you everything, but I didn't. I didn't want to destroy us. Maya turned to look at him. The guilt was written all over his face, but it didn't change the fact that he had been hiding the truth for so long. Ethan, she said softly, her voice cracking with emotion, you didn't just lie to me. You lied about who you were. You kept things from me that I should have known. I gave you my trust and you destroyed it. How can I ever forgive you for that? I don't expect you to forgive me, he said, looking down at the floor. I don't even deserve it, but I love you, Maya. I've always loved you, and I know I've messed up. I've ruined everything, but I'm not asking for your forgiveness right now. I'm asking for a chance to make things right. Maya couldn't sleep. The decision that had been lingering in her mind for days now weighed heavy on her heart. She had always believed in the love she shared with Ethan, but everything had changed. The lies, the secrets, they had shattered the trust she had so freely given. Could love alone be enough to repair it? Ethan had been silent for most of the day. The house felt empty, even though he was still there. Every time Maya caught his eye, all she could see was the man who had betrayed her. She couldn't escape the images, the text messages, the DNA test, his lies. Her mind kept racing. Was this the end? Could she ever truly forgive him for what he had done? Her heart screamed for the man she had loved, but her mind told her that the truth was undeniable. That night, Maya found herself sitting across from Ethan at the dinner table, both of them silent. The air was thick with tension, and neither one knew where to begin. After what seemed like an eternity, Maya spoke. I can't keep pretending, Ethan. You've broken me. You've broken us. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know if I can trust you again. Ethan's face twisted with pain as he reached out for her hand, but Maya pulled it away. He lowered his hand slowly, the regret in his eyes deepening. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I've ruined everything, but Maya, I need you to understand something. It wasn't just the affair. It wasn't just about Lily. It was about me being afraid of losing you. I thought that if I kept this from you, I could protect us. I was wrong, and I am so, so sorry." Maya closed her eyes, the tears threatening to fall. The weight of his words felt suffocating. The days following Maya's decision were some of the hardest she had ever faced. The apartment felt quieter than it had ever been. She spent her time organizing her things, cleaning, and trying to make sense of the chaos her life had become. The space was hers now, and though it felt small and empty, it also felt like a fresh start. But despite the peace of her surroundings, Maya couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. Every time she closed her eyes, his face was there, filled with regret and sorrow. She still loved him, but the trust they had once shared was gone. It was a wound too deep to heal in an instant. One evening, after spending a few hours journaling her thoughts, Maya decided to go for a walk. She needed clarity, something to tell her if she was making the right decision. She walked through the city streets, the cool night air doing little to calm her racing thoughts. As she walked, she passed a small park and saw a couple sitting on a bench, laughing and holding hands. It was a simple, beautiful moment, a stark contrast to the chaos that had consumed her life recently. Maya sat on a nearby bench, her eyes scanning the stars above. The truth was, she wasn't sure what she wanted. She had made a decision to leave Ethan, but was that the right choice? Her heart ached, but her mind told her it was the only choice. She needed to find peace, to rebuild herself. It wasn't just about Ethan anymore. It was about her. The days after Maya's decision to move forward were filled with reflection and change. The pain of the past slowly began to fade, though it lingered in quiet corners of her mind. But Maya refused to let it consume her. She had spent so much time letting her life be defined by others, but now it was time to define it for herself. Maya had taken the leap, and each day felt like a small victory. She'd learned to embrace her independence. Slowly, her home began to feel like a place of peace and possibility, rather than a place of emotional chaos. One morning, Maya decided to take a walk through the park. It was a beautiful spring day, sunshine filtering through the trees, birds chirping, and a gentle breeze ruffling her hair. As she walked along the path, Maya couldn't help but smile. This was what it felt like to truly be free. She thought about Ethan, about the life they had shared. It was hard not to wonder how things could have been different if he had been honest from the start. But the truth was, Maya had outgrown him. She had outgrown the version of herself that had relied on someone else for her happiness. She found herself at a small cafe in the park, sitting by the window with a cup of coffee in her hands. As she gazed out at the bustling streets and the people walking by, she realized that this was the moment she had been waiting for. Her new life was beginning. Maya had always been afraid of change.